All right. Hey, Coach.
Hey, can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah, I can. Go ahead. I'm trying to figure out my tablet, but I can still draw. If we need to draw stuff up, I'll figure it out. But um, I know you had a bunch of
Sweet.
questions. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always got millions of questions. I'll just hit a couple of top ones and see what you got for me.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I heard one of the podcasts that you were talking about how to handle a 1-2-2 aggressive half court trap about sending guys from the back, but I never got the specifics on that, how
Okay.
you
So one,
attack
two,
that.
two, or 1-3-1.
A 1-2-2.
Okay. So let me see if I can do this. Okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Um, so it won't be as pretty because I can't get my tablet, but we'll do the best we can here. Okay. All right. So you're saying 1-2-2, you said? 1-2-2.
Yes.
All right. It looks like that. So you're saying aggressive. So
Yes.
you're saying two, one, and let's say most people would break this with an even front. So they put an offensive player here. They put an offensive player here. They'd probably put one in
Right.
the high post, and they probably most people counter with um, most people counter with opposite. So if it's an odd front, they go even. So okay. So you're saying this is aggressive.
Right. So the 1 and 3 are trapping
Okay.
aggressively,
Yep.
and if it
So the
goes to the
ball's here.
corner, the
So
5 and
yep.
3 are trapping. Right.
Yep. So 1 and 3. Okay. So that's where I'm saying two has to make a decision at this point. Okay. Because five is probably going to step here. Okay. What I do is I don't leave this guy I don't put that guy there at the high post. So what I do is I put them at the short corner. So I either I put them in at the short elbow. I put them either there or there, depending on which way. So if the ball's on this side, I put them right here, because then two's got to make a decision about who he's going to guard, and then this person pops in behind. See what I'm saying? So if the ball's on this side, I put, we'll call this here, I can go, this is offensive player 1, offensive player 2. We'll call this offensive player 3, 4, and 5. And again, forgive my drawing skills because I'm not doing it on my tablet. So if offensive player 1 has the ball, then I tell offensive player 3 to get like not low block but mid block, like right in here.
Okay.
If offensive player 2 has it, then offensive player 3 would be on this side, because I'm going to force 2 to make a decision at this point. This is really too far for 4 to come, and 4 is more worried about 5 moving and getting a bucket in here, just lobbing it up and getting a bucket. So that's where I was talking about. I was talking about that opposite high guy flashing behind the trap.
Okay.
Because if two takes the offensive player 2 away, then 3 will be open. This
Okay.
player will be open. So one of these 2 players is going to be open because 2 can only guard one of them. But when you do this
Gotcha.
normal lineup, 2 can kind of sit on 3 and then also look for the steal up above.
Okay.
So it's basically you want to give 3 passing lanes. So worst case scenario is, let's say the ball is here. The worst case scenario is you want 3 passing lanes. You want 1, 2, and 3 passing lanes. So you have that. If 4 does come up and takes 2 away, then 5's got to follow 4. Like then 5's got to come up, and then the release is just a skip across. So either one of these 3 people is going to be open, either this guy at kind of the short elbow, this guy flashing behind the trap, right in here, because that's a long way for 2 to come, and 2's got to decide. 2 can't guard 3 and 2. And then if 4 decides, well, I'm going to start creeping up if the ball's over here, then that's fine. And then 5's going to come up and be the release. So 4's going to have to make a decision on which way it's going to go.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
And Yeah, and I typically just put my point guard, my best player, right in the middle and try to get the ball to him to score. Is
Yeah,
that the
that's the one
right
they're trying.
idea?
That's kind of the one they're trying to steal. Um,
Right.
yeah, so you want somebody almost coming from behind it, because they're gonna go. They want to go for this steal and the high this steal up here, right? Because then they can go get a layup in the other direction. So two is going to be the aggressive one, but two is going to have to make a decision. If the ball's over here with two, then three, then this one tends to be the other opposite guard tends to be the aggressive one.
Okay. And my guy in the middle is going to be on ball side,
Ball
a little bit
side
low on the elbow.
about I don't know, I'd say about 1.5 feet below the elbow.
So gotcha. Another one flashes behind, and then my other deep
Because think
corner
about it.
guy.
So let's say the ball's here.
Yeah.
Let's say the ball's here. Who's going to guard this guy? Is 5 going to come up? If 5 comes up, that's great. You just pass it to 4.
Right.
And then that's a long way to go to trap again. If 5 takes 4 away, which they normally do, that's the easiest pass. That's the one they want. They want to make that pass in the cross pass. So usually that one's taken away. Well, then this person's just going to have to step up and find an open space for them to see you, and then you're off to the races. Because if 3 catches the ball like right here where I'm drawing that X, who's going to? I mean, it's either going to be 5's got to stop them, or if 5 stops them, then 4 is going to get an open shot.
Right. And then your other guy too is flashing behind.
And this is the key, that flash behind. Most people don't flash behind the trap. When you flash behind the trap, it's really hard to defend.
Gotcha. No, that's super helpful because I'm just putting my guy right in the middle.
Yeah, and they just stand there. They just
stand there. Right.
Yeah, and then it's just too easy to defend. I always tell them 2 or 3 count, and then you got to get out of there.
Okay.
So these they can interchange too. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
Okay, perfect.
Am I good ripping through a few other ones?
Yeah, go right ahead. You're the only one that shows up today. Everyone must be at a picnic or something today, so it's all cool.
All right, I'll keep ripping through it. Okay. So last year we had a team that would press on misses very aggressively, and they would double team my post. So on a defensive rebound, they would jump and trap my post and then try to guard the outlet to my point guard. Yep. So what's the philosophy behind handling that?
Do that. First philosophy, because we do that. We'll do that on missed free throws.
Oh,
we'll do that on missed free throws because you got 2 guys right here. And if one of them gets the rebound, we'll trap right away. So what has to happen? So they're going to get the rebound here. So they're going to get the rebound here or here, right? So normally they're going to get one of those 2 blocks, and then they're going to get trapped by 2 defenders. Okay. So what they're doing is they're taking your point guard away. You don't want your point guard to catch it. You want your point guard to get the second pass. So you want someone else to flash and get the ball here. And then you want your point guard. Let's say this is your point guard. You want your point guard then to flash from that person, because they're trying to make someone else bring the ball up is my guess. Right.
Right. Correct.
Yeah. So you don't want them to get the first pass. You want them to get the second pass. That's why sometimes I'll have my point guard, when we're getting pressured in the full court, throw the ball in. Like, let's say we're getting pressed full court man. I'll have my point guard throw it in. We'll run something over here to get the ball, and then I'll have them run and get it after that. That's a hard thing to defend. So this second pass is harder to defend than the first one. The first one's an easy denial. So what you want to do is have your 2 or 3 guards say, hey, if we're getting doubled, you flash them, get it, and then the point guard is going to come back and flash in front of you. Because they don't want to get beat deep, right? They don't want to get beat this way. So they're going to let them catch it in front, probably, if they do. Let's say your point guard's over here. All right, I'm stuck. Well, what's he going to do? He's going to vab, and then he's going to cut like this. Well, they're going to stay on if you're going this way, they're going to stay on this side of them because they don't want to get beat deep and give a layup up. So it's just teaching your point guard to go away and then flash across. That's what we've done in the past, because you're right. This is a hard one, especially for the bigs. They just want to get rid of it. And that's fine. You're going to get rid of it, but you're going to get rid of it to somebody other than the point guard. And then these guys are told not to dribble. These guys are told to hold and look. You know.
So so what would be the lineup then? Just telling the people, should I have my point guard on one side, my two on the other side?
Yep.
And
The
then,
two the, the
send
two
someone
should go
long?
opposite. The
Okay.
two should go the side of the double, and the point should go opposite that. And then as soon as
Okay.
this one gets it, then he's cutting. Yep. Yep. Make it
Okay.
really
And where would I tell the other two players? Where should I tell them to be going?
Well, I would send my big deep because I would send both of. I'd send the big deep, and then you probably have your 3 guard here at half court. I'd say you go to half court and get in the center circle
Okay.
or the sideline. Get out of the way because you don't want them around at that point. But the problem is they've got 2 guys here, so they only have 3 defenders left.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So someone's going to be open. It's just a matter of who.
Right.
And then I would tell my big, I'd rather have them eat the ball than turn it over at that point. Literally, like I'd rather have your football eat it than make the bad pass because this is a horrible pass if it's turned over because it's a layup kind of thing. So that's where I work on. I work on breaking windows. Above the shoulders. Kind of breaking. Pass fake logo high. You can always pass over the ears or pass over the top of the head. It's virtually impossible for somebody to get their hands up. So I would work in the small parts. I would work with the bigs. This is a great drill. You could do this as a drill too. Like, okay, what do we need to work on? We need to work on when they're getting doubled. Great. We're going to double the big. We're going to throw the ball off the board. Big's going to get it. We're going to double them. And then we're going to work on, going 3-on-3 at that point or 2-on. We're going to work on our break, getting the ball up and let's. So I would incorporate a couple things. You could work on your trap. You could work on the big getting doubled because you want them to get that feeling so they don't freak out. This is used often, at least at our level, at the high school level, is used to kind of get them to panic. Like we're not used to getting doubled right away when we get a rebound. So that's and most coaches run it to try to get a couple turnovers and a couple layups, a couple easy buckets.
Okay. Cool.
So I would definitely incorporate that into practice, so the bigs know what it feels like to get doubled. And then if you know the football coach, I'd go get some football pads, those big pads, and bang them. You ever see those big?
Right.
You can get them at Dick's or whatever. Yeah. So I'd have those 2 guys so they're not fouling them all over. I'd have them banging them just so he gets used to that feeling.
Okay.
So you can't exactly do it, but you can get close to it.
Okay, cool. That's great.
Okay.
The next question I had is when calling a timeout, especially towards in the game, but I guess any time, how many, so I always try to give a zone, if I'm running a quick hitter, a zone quick hitter and a man quick hitter, but also if the other team decides to jump to a trap or something like that, do I also need to remind them of what our kind of press break or release style is? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like how much information do you give people when you're at a timeout?
Okay, because it's probably a big. Okay, so I try to find something that works against man and zone. That's the first thing. You can't get something that's going to work against everything. You just want to put kids in the right position so that they can create some space and openings. That's the first thing. You really, especially in a big game, if you haven't done it before, it's going to be hard for them to do it. So I would make sure you practice it. Have that 1 or 2 plays and, once or 2, because if you can remind them, hey, we're running Phoenix. We got this. Here's what we're going to do. Here's all our looks. If they're in zone, we're going to get this look. If they're in man, we're going to get this look. Here we go, break. I wouldn't worry about them. If they trap, what you do is in practice before that point, if they trap, that's an attack mode. Because we have an advantage at that point. If they're trapping, they're probably down. It's probably not tied or up if they're trapping us. So if they're trapping us, they're probably down. We need to make them pay at that point. We want to either take time off the clock or we want to attack the rim. So keep it simple in those timeouts. Super simple, because they're not going to hear you. And if whatever's important, say it at the beginning and say it at the end. Because I've had more than one kid say, Coach, man, I didn't hear anything. It's because they're all jacked. It's like, okay, here we go. And that's where running them in practice is so important. Every big game that I've won, we've run something that we've run before, and I'm more calming them saying, hey, we're going to win this. We got it. We're going to run Phoenix. Here's what it's going to look like. Now, from a standpoint of coaching, you should practice this in practice, putting a minute on the clock or on your phone. And then I have clear transparencies of plays that I can just put on my whiteboard that I just clip on, and then I'll put my little magnets on them, because I'm not good enough, even after 30 years of drawing that stuff up really fast. So I'll tell my assistant as I see it's coming, hey, get our quick hitters ready. He'll have them ready. I go, all right, we're going to run Phoenix, and he'll have it clipped on there for me. So when I grab the whiteboard, it's ready, rock and roll. Here's what we're running. I'll just put the magnets and the kids in the right spots. He even has magnets labeled come tournament time with the kid's name. So I'll grab John. John's going to be here. Bill's going to be here, blah, blah, blah. But just like the kids practice, you have to practice that. Because if it's a tight game, if they see you're confident and have it, their confidence level multiplies. Because they feel like, oh, we got this. We've done this in practice. We've already run it. We've done this 4 times. So that's where I think you got to come up with just a couple quick hitters. I'm actually probably the end of this week or next week. We just finished the PowerPoints, and then my assistant's going to do the wording on it of all quick hitters, how to pick a quick hitter, what you should look for, a checklist and everything. So it'll probably be a week. We just finalized the PowerPoint, so he's going to go back and do either today or tomorrow. So look for that in the next week, and that will help you. Like, do you want to screen? Because there's so many different things you can do in a last second play. You got to kind of pick a couple that you want. Do you want a 3? Do you want what kind of things do you want? And then that's where you can get the play from. So look for that.
So no, that makes perfect sense. So a follow-up on that is, I basically with the kids, I have them work on just in the game, just one baseline out of bounds for man and one baseline out of bounds for zone.
Yep.
And they're different.
Okay.
So if I wanted to go with that philosophy of a man in a zone they've already practiced on, is there a certain way that you really tell? I mean, can I have my guys switch or something right before they run it just to make sure they are in a man or zone? Or are you of the philosophy that's better just to have one play that will
Well, the
work
problem is I might 1-3-1 half court trap you. I might run a matchup 2-3. I might run a diamond in 1. Depending on the amount of time, I'm not sure you have time to synthesize that. You know what I'm saying? In a play at the end of a game, if let's say we're playing you, I'm coaching against you, and your team's going off, and your 2 stars are just, man, they're going crazy. All right, maybe the whole game we've been playing a matchup and man. Well, maybe the last play of the game, I'm going to my triangle and 2, and I'm just going to take those 2 out of the game. I'm not going to let them score. Well, you got to have some sort of quick hitter where everybody kind of gets a look. Maybe I'll 1-3-1 trap you in the half court. Well, all of a sudden, now we're extending. Now there's going to be different spaces. So that's where I think you want to figure out. Personally, I think you don't want to bottle yourself. There's so many different zones. That's the problem. And a lot of zones become similar to man after you do a couple movements. That's why I think if you just find a good 1 or 2 good plays, I don't know how many zones you see in your league and stuff, but if you only see 2 3s in man, then easy, yeah. Just have 1 for each. But if if like our league, you could see 6 different zones at some point, or a switching man, or a non-switching man, or maybe they're icing us and pushing us, whatever it is. So you just got to be ready for it. But if you feel comfortable, what I tell every coach, do what you feel comfortable doing. So if you feel comfortable having 2 different ones, do that. Absolutely. Because the kids will feel that.
So when they go out in their court, if I want to have maybe 2 players switch positions or something just to see if they do follow them?
You just have them.
Simple.
Yep, that's super simple. Are they handing? It's going to be a little bit harder to tell a matchup in a matchup zone and a man.
Yeah, matchups.
That's going to be harder. But if you get guys cutting through and they're following, or they're getting to the help line, then you'll be able to tell it's man. So yes, if you have 30 seconds, that's easy. Cutters through will tell you kind of for the most part, whether it's man or zone. Won't always do it, but
Right.
it'll give you a good idea of it.
Right. Okay. So just the one follow-up question on that is when they do jump to trap, so like my point guards, I probably have one of the best point guards in the league.
Yep.
So if they look to double team him right off the bat, is there a specific rule that you tell the kids, like fill the 3 passing lanes, come to the ball?
Yep.
Or
I tell them pass through first of all, I convey like they're trapping him. We're going to make him pay at that point.
Okay.
Someone's open. So I almost get like the blood and water kind of theory at that point, because I want the other 4 boys to be like, yes, like excited that he's getting trapped, because now we have an advantage. Because if he's that good, he's going to be able to get out of that trap or pass it out, then we're going. So yes, I tell them 3 passing lanes and attack at that point. We're going to score. We're going to make you pay for trapping us.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would try to get the trap high. If you think they're going to do it right away, I try to get him the ball, set something where he can get the ball right away, and then go ahead. We want you go ahead and trap us, because then we're gonna make you. I tell them go past north south rather than east west, so they don't get a layup. But let's go. Yeah.
So do you send like the three guys come all the way to the ball in the 3 passing lanes and put someone under the goal, spread them out?
Yes,
or is there a general
I usually because then he can always throw it up to the goal if he needs to.
Okay.
Right. So 3 passing lanes. One of them, as long as they're cutting to those passing lanes and not standing.
Cutting. Okay.
Yep, cutting, and then do that where they can't dribble. So that will teach them to move. So when we do that, and we don't let any, even though there might be dribbling in the quick hitter initially, or once you get it going, to get out of that double, I don't let them dribble at all in practice, because I want them to get, if they stand and they don't dribble, they won't get open. So that's
right.
I want to teach that they have to move. I want that movement. That the only way I can do it is no dribbles in practice.
Okay. No, that's super helpful for that. Okay, cool. So just to follow up on if I could, on the 1-2-2 half court trap.
Yep.
If they come with a 1-3-1 half court trap, is there a big difference, or is it?
No, there isn't. They're even actually more spread out.
Okay, so same idea.
Yeah, it's the exact same idea. 1-3-1 and 1-2-2 will look the same way. He'll be in that mid post, and he'll be. Yeah, it will be the guard flashing behind. Actually, the guard will be even more open in a 1-3-1, because usually that's the 5-man in a 1-3-1 tends to be the middle of the 3 tends to be the big guy. So it tends to be the biggest guy in the court versus one of the smaller guys of the guard. That flash behind is hard for them to get, really hard for them to get, virtually impossible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll keep that.
Just because if they're running a 1-3-1, that middle guy has been pounded. Don't let the ball in the middle. Don't let the ball in the middle. And usually it's it's not a guard flashing behind the trap. So that will, you'll be wide open. You won't have to worry about that.
Okay. And I heard one of your podcasts also, you're talking about how you attack a 3-2 zone, or I guess a 1-2-2 zone where they're not really trapping. Is there something specific you try to run for that?
Well, first of all, hopefully you got shooters. That helps.
Right. We do have a pretty good shooting team.
Yeah. No, there's 2 things. There's a couple things I like to do against zones. I like to run my man offense, because zones don't like that when there's a lot of cutting and moving and screening against the zone. So I tend to run my man offense. I will make the zone move from side to side a lot. I will overload a side. It almost becomes where it looks like a chair set. Let's see if I can. Where's my set? So let's say they're in a 3-2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I will get to the point. I'll maybe start it in a 1-4 set, but I'll get it in almost to the point where they overload like this. And then I'll have the top guard kind of move back and forth a little bit, but I call it chair because when he's here, it basically looks like a chair. Zones don't like overloads at all. And then what I'll do is I'll sometimes have this guy I'll have this guy dribble over if he gets the ball back, have this guy screen, he'll curl over, this guy screen, this guy, he'll come through, and then these two will kind of crisscross in here. So zones don't like cutting and they don't like screening. They don't like overloads. So against any zone, first of all, if you can shoot, you can get them out of it in a millisecond because most like high school zones can't take care of shooters. But if not, in my first inkling is always to go to my man offense. First of all, to make sure they're not man, they're in zone, but also to get movement because I want movement. When kids hear zone, they tend to stand. So I try to get them to stand so that we'll get openings. Anything you draw up or anything you design, look for short corners. Short corners are always really good as far as the zone goes. Okay. So sometimes I'll have this guy cut, I'll have these, I won't have necessarily an overload like this. I'll have maybe him cut short corner rather than go all the way to the block. Because then that leaves some space in here for guys to cut through. But yeah, I mean, I think that's good. I don't know if I have. I don't know. I'll see if I have. I have a continuity. I have a continuity offense too. I run against like a 2-3. I'll see if I can find that. It's probably on Teachhoops somewhere, but I'll find it for you and send it to you.
That's interesting about running your man.
What?
But no, I'm just saying that's really interesting about running the man against the zone, or at least to start.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't used to do that, and then I don't know if we played somebody that had a really good matchup zone or something, but it's like most zone. I mean, you'll get better spacing. Obviously, if they're playing pack and their feet are in the lane, and you're not going to get anything on the cuts and the screens, but you're going to get open 12 to 3-pointers at that point, 12 footers to 3-pointers. So at some point, you're going to have to hit some outside shots, especially if they're playing kind of a pack zone. But yeah, if they're zoning me, I shoot. As a player and a coach, I love it. Zone me. I want you to zone me. And if you have shooters, you're probably not going to see a lot of zone. You might see trapping zone. Yeah, because I might try to turn you over to get easy buckets. But I wouldn't think you'd see a lot of 2-3 or 3-2 pack zone.
Right. No. We usually start out with 2-3 and then people switch to man, which we really got to work on since we're going to work on this year. But
yeah, and the thing is, here's something. I'm going to tell you something that my coaches and I have been doing in the off season too. And you coached this team last year, right?
Yes, for the last few years.
Okay, and you have film from the last couple of years?
Yes, we huddle all the last couple of years.
So go back and look at all your offensive possessions. Huddle will do that for you. Did you do the stats thing, or did you just?
I haven't tried, just money-wise, I haven't tried to do that.
Okay. So what I would do is pick 3 or 4 games when you're just sitting there and vegging, and just fast forward and look at all your offensive possessions, and you'll be surprised how often you don't score in the stuff you work on in practice. Does that make sense? Like, if you've seen my team the last 2 years, we scored like 37% of our offense in the fast break, and we were slow as molasses in January. You would have never thought we were scoring in transition. But I spent all my time in practice on the wrong stuff. I spent my time on working on half-court offense, and we were good at it, but we only scored on it. We only ran it and scored on it the portion. You know what I'm saying? So you should look at where you're scoring. Are you scoring in the fast break? Are you scoring in transition? Are you scoring on screens? Because that's where you got to spend your practice time. Like for this upcoming season, we've adjusted how we're breaking our practices down because I think we're spending too much time on something that we're good at and I'm trying to get great at, but we don't need to get great at it. We need to get great at this other thing that we're actually shooting more at. It's the stats teacher in me. It's like something wasn't clicking and I couldn't figure out what it was. And then when we did that, it was like, whoa, that's why. Because we should have spent more time on our transition offense. We should have spent more time on our secondary, those kind of things. So that's what you need to think about is like, it's with this quick hitter and all this other stuff. It's like how much, quick hitters at the end of the game are important. And I spend some time on it, especially come second half of the season. But what percentage of the game is actually that versus, us being able to transition back on defense, or us being able to transition, get an easy bucket on our third pass in our offense kind of thing. So think about that when if you have some time to go back and look at it, or have somebody, if you have a student manager or somebody like that, just track a couple games. I think you'll be surprised.
Right. No, that's great. I never thought about that. That's excellent. I could easily do that. Okay, cool. Very good. And like I said, just tell me to shut up whenever.
Okay, no worries.
The next one is the next one I heard for our man press breaker. I've always just got it to the point guard, spread it out, and just let him bring it down. But I heard you mention something about that if they're in a jump and trap, that you might have to have a little bit different strategy, or is that not necessarily the case as long as everybody's spread out? It's
more about the cuts. So if you go on Teachhoops, I've got a press break, all the press breaks. If you have two things, if you have an out of bounds play you like a lot, use that for a press break. Because it will get kind of the same movement. You know, an out of bounds play that you use to score under a basket, you can also use for a press break to get it in if you need to. But then I work on cutting, and I work on spacing versus press breaks. So if you're going to run and jump me, I got to get the ball in, and I've got a couple of tweaks on that. And if you go watch the press break thing on Teachhoops, one's called sideline, a couple other ones where I get the ball back to the point guard, throwing it in. So go look at that. But what I teach is, I think what's really important on press breaks is that spacing in the vertical cuts. So I don't know what specifically, I've done so many podcasts, I don't remember what I was specifically talking about. And I can't remember what I had for dinner last night, but I teach finding space, especially in a press break. So let's say the point guard gets the ball here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about those three spots. We talk about that all the time, right? You got to have those three spots. But I want them filled with cuts across the court, similar to what we were just talking about. So let's say we do a basic one. Ooh, that was bad. Let's say we do a basic 1-4 set. So we put 1 here, 2 here, 3, 4, and 5's throwing it in. Okay, so 5's here. So let's say 1 sets a screen for 2, and then 1 curls back and gets the ball here. Okay, great. All right, so if we re-diagram this, so 1's got the ball now. So 5 is my step in. Change that. So 5 just threw it in. So 5's just going to step in here to the basket for the time being. 1 has the ball. Okay. 2 is over here. 3 is back here. And 4 is at this spot. All right. So what I want at this point is I want people cutting across the front. Okay. So I'm going to tell 2 to go down and cut across. Okay. I'm going to tell 1 to cut down and come back because 1's getting trapped. These passes, these cuts across the court are always open. Now, sometimes I'll clear my 5 out because I don't want 5 dealing with the ball at that point. But if 2 doesn't get it, I tell 2 to clear, and then I'll tell 3 to come back down and then again cut across. Because the defender does not want to get beat this way. That's what you got to think about, what the defender doesn't want to happen. The defender does not want to give a layup up. So they're always going to play those cross-court cuts will always be open. And the only way I've been able to figure out how to teach them that is by not letting them dribble it until they get the ball inside our three-point line. Because then they got to catch it. So, and I'll do this. The disadvantage drill is perfect for this. We'll put 6 defenders out there and no dribbles. And the only way they're going to get it over half court is to do those kind of cuts. If they do lazy cuts or they do curl cuts, they'll never get open. If they cut down and cut across, that's when they'll get open. So that's what
I was going to cut. No, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I was going to try to teach them a little bit different press breaker this year. And that 2-cutter press breaker, I can't remember the guy's name, that's been around for a long time, but it looks similar to kind of what you're doing. Cut. Okay.
Yep. You literally want to cut. I mean, because every kid's paranoid about getting yelled at, and they're all paranoid about not giving up the layup because it's embarrassing. So they're always going to be on this side. So what I teach, the one thing you have to do with this drill, and I have learned this, is you have to teach them how to catch it moving like that, not travel and be under control. And maybe sometimes jump stop. So that's why I do the no dribble thing, because they'll catch it and they can't dribble because they all want to dribble. So they catch it, and then they got to jump stop into it, and then they got to look up and pass fake, and do all those kind of things.
Oh, that's excellent.
So, yeah,
Excellent.
so if you do that, I've had teams, especially, 10 years ago, I didn't have these kind of teams, but the last 4 or 5 years, I've had teams that have had been a little shaky. We do this every day. This is, we'll do this drill usually within the first half hour practice. I'm a big believer in the first 3 drills you do set the tone for your practice. So I tend to do ones that are very intense for the first 3 drills. I don't necessarily do this that early, but I do it early in practice because they still have their legs.
Okay. So do you have, I don't know if that was something you work on as far as just like a handout on like practices, as far as just kind of I don't know how your practice look at percentages or a little bit better idea of.
I don't, but I'm going
flow?
to, because I'm going to speak. I'm actually working on that right now because that's what I was on the top of my head. I'm speaking outside of Atlanta in 2 weeks at the Legends Clinic. And that's what I'm talking about, practice and building a program. So I will have something for you in 2 weeks.
Cool.
I'm working on it right now.
Cool.
It's in my binder.
Cool. And just one other side note of that is, do you have any type of handout for like in the game situations? So just like a sheet that would just kind of hit on the key things you need to know, like how many fouls, do you have any fouls to give? Does the other team have any fouls to give? The 3-point shooter, the best free throw shooter, something like that, just at the end of the game that would be like you have it all in one sheet, checklist.
I do. So you're talking, I have a couple things, but I just want to make sure I gotta dig it out because usually my assistant coach is in charge of it. So are you talking about like a checklist, or are you talking about like just giving them information? Like, because I have a coach, I have an assistant coach who's in charge of telling the kids the possession arrow, the number of timeouts. He holds up a sign as they're walking out of the huddle. We have 2 timeouts. They have the possession. He'll hold it up so they see it. Are you talking about like a sheet of paper with like, follow this person, do this? What specifically are you talking about?
Actually, maybe it's a combination of 2, but basically, so my assistant has a checklist of what they should be tracking during the game, and during a timeout, they can tell me that information. So I'm not having to think about that as I'm drawing a player doing whatever.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Okay. So I have something like that. It's really hard to keep, but I can definitely give it. I'll pull it out because that's actually a good thing to show Teachhoops members. I might do something on that. That's actually good. I have somebody that keeps every possession next to me. So, and he has it in little compartments, like, so I can tell at halftime. I want it more for halftime. Are they scoring versus the 1-3-1? Are they scoring versus our man? Are they scoring versus? So we compartmentalize. So that is, I think, what you're thinking about. Then the other thing is more of an administrative sheet, which I have that administrative sheet too. So I'll dig that out for you. Follow this person. That's more of that comes from our scouts. Like, follow this person. Right. This is what they're going to run at the end of the game. Yeah, we try to get that onto one sheet on our scout for our boys. So that's different. But then I'll get you the one that, yeah, it's a good thing to give your assistant that can't keep their mouth shut either, because they can't do that, and they have to pay attention. Like, so I can basically see every possession at halftime, whether we're scoring on it, all that. Like, I think he circles if it's a 2, triangle if it's a 3, nothing if it's a miss, and then it's under Pacific. So I'll find that for you. That's a good idea. I'll find that.
Right. Yeah. Because I just, especially at the end of the game, if they can just remind me, can your guy run the baseline? Tell the referee, count down the last couple of seconds. Just all the things you need in the game that I'm probably not going to remember. Should we foul? Do we have a foul to give? But I'm just not organized, and that would be
no. I got that. Yep. I'll find that for you. All right, one more, coach. Then I got to pick up my sushi.
Last one. I'll wrap it up. And we have sushi every Friday night as a regular thing with my wife. So
you do? Mine's Sunday. Yeah. Mine's Sunday. Because then I always have I have some left, and then I get to eat it on Monday. So I'm the only one that eats it in the house. So it's like I order enough for.
Yeah, and you keep it cold. Yeah, it's awesome. It's the best. It's the best next day food there is.
I know.
So last one is there just a quick hitter that you like for maybe for a man or a zone that you want your point guard to get the shot? So like maybe trying to keep it in his hands and him being able to, I don't know. The challenge that I have is I'm a little hesitant at the last second play with my point guard or trying to screen them because I really don't want them to double him.
Oh, I'm doubling.
For him to,
I'm doubling.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying it would be better just to spread out. And
no, it'd be better for him not to have the ball if he can do it.
Okay. Because I have other people who can handle the ball. He's not the only one.
Get him off the ball. I'd literally get him off the ball. Because I'm telling you, if I'm coaching against you and he's got the ball, I'm coming at you. I'm going to make someone else beat me, is usually my theory. And he's not going to beat me. I'm going to double him or triple him and make him give it up. Maybe he'll turn it over. Maybe he'll take a bad shot. So, yes, I think you want – I don't have something off the top of my head, but let me think about that for a point guard.
For like a zone and a man, just a basic.
Yep.
Yeah,
how big's your point guard?
He's a little under 6 foot, so he's not really tall. I mean, he's my best rebounder too. But
a 6 foot, and will he go against bigger kids or smaller kids, faster kids? Other bigger? Will there be like 6'3" kids guarding him or not?
Sometimes there'll be, but usually they're going to be their fastest guy. So like maybe a 5'10" guy or something. Not really.
Okay.
Big. Usually.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is he good off the ball?
He's a really driving layups and 3-pointers. Not much of a mid-range game.
Okay.
So you have 3-pointers and then drive and lay it up.
Yep. So what you want to do? Yep. So let me play with this and I'll get you something. What I think you want is setting a lot of screens for him, and then him setting some back screens, because you'll get some slips off of that for the other guys, and then they'll have to, let me play with that. That's a good. I haven't diagrammed many things over the 30 years for my point guard to actually score. It's usually my 2 or 3, but let me play with that. I would definitely get him off the ball. I got lots of stuff if he's off the ball. Let me think about on the ball. I'll put that on my list. I'll find something. Okay, great.
Hey, thanks, Coach. Thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Talk to you soon. Bye.